So if you want to get a job, usually you have to find somebody who will have that job for you. Okay, and usually you have to go through recruiters, and recruiters usually work in an agency, and it's a slew of process, a lot of people that are involved usually to get you matched with an employer. And so in this video, I'm going to show you how to take this whole agency with different people working, these are recruiters, how to actually create AI agents that will do exactly what the real recruiters do. These recruitment agencies have a lot of moving parts. And one of the things that can be very difficult is that one, they need to vet people. They actually have to, of course, read the resumes, and they are getting many of those resumes and have to go through each one of those and contact people and trying to figure out their qualifications and how would they match them to an employer. What would be a solution? Well, you know this. Drum roll. Yes, the solution would be AI agents. With AI agents, they're going to be able to pass along different tasks to other AI agents to do exactly that, from extracting information and then analyze their resume and maybe figure out how to connect or how to match to different employers or different positions, and then have a full report with recommendations so that the whole agency knows what is the process that went through to get to that conclusion where X person or X, Y, and Z people need to be matched to a certain company. And so that is exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. I'm going to show you how to use a large language model, in this case Llama 3.2, to aid us in this. On top of that, we're going to use a swarm framework that allows us to create agents, AI agents, very quickly, simply, and to the point. So let's go ahead and build a recruitment agency, all with AI agents. So here's what we're going to be building. So here is the user interface. So it is indeed a UI recruiter agency. So you can go ahead, of course, and upload things, but most importantly, you can see we have this about that we're going to click. It gives us some about this whole thing. Now, of course, here is saying Llama 3.2, the framework, swarm framework, and all the things. So it says here, our system uses specialized AI agents to do what? Well, to extract information from resumes and analyze candidate profiles and also match with suitable positions, screen candidates, and then provide details, recommendations. So this is going to be a full-fledged agency that we're going to be building using code and Llama 3.2. Okay. Of course, the front end is going to be Streamlit, which is what you see here. So the idea is very simple. And let me go back to the upload. So here, what we can do is we can go ahead and upload files. Now I already have a resume that I'm going to go ahead and just drop it right there. So you can imagine now things are going to be happening in the back end. So the analyzing of the resume is happening. Well, first of all, different agents are doing what they need to do to get started. So the first agent is going to go ahead and pull information from this PDF file, which is a resume, and then it's going to pass on to different agents that will analyze and do all sort of things. So this is going to take a little bit, and then at the end, the main agent is going to be able to give us recommendations through analysis. And there we go. We can see that we have now this analysis complete. So we have a recommendation. So we have analysis. I can also close this tab menu there. So skill analysis for Janine Nell's resume, and gives us sales engineering, industrial engineering, project management, and all this great stuff. So it pulls in all the information from the resume. And at the end here, you can see recommendation to enhance Janine Nell's profile. Consider the following: add more experience, develop technical expertise, increase education and training. Confidence is 85%. Wow, it gives us the confidence that this person could potentially do well in a certain industry. And of course, I'll show you that results also have been saved locally. But you can see also we have other things here. We have this job matches. It tells us exactly this person matches well 80% in New York for this data scientist position. All right. And we have this software engineer position, and it says that the match is 70% and is remote. So this is exciting. That's exactly what we're going to be building. And also we have the screening here. Screening results gives us a summary of everything, qualifications, and the percentage, experience relevance, and all of this information. All right. And of course, we have another tab, the final recommendation. They give us the recommendation. And all of this, ladies and gentlemen, is built using AI, but most importantly, using AI agents. You can see how helpful, how useful this tool can be. By the way, if you are interested in being a part of a community where you find like-minded people to build AI tools from scratch, and you will have templates, we have weekly, monthly calls that we have for Q&A, and many other things in this community where people are actually building AI solutions. You'll have everything you need to build AI solutions using code and AI tools. It's a place where I'm very proud about, and there's a lot of people who are enjoying this community, and I would love for you to join the community where you'll be able to dive deeper into building AI solutions that actually solve problem. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I already have the code, and because of the nature of this project, there's a lot of moving parts, and there's a lot of code as well, not too much. And so what I will do, I will just walk through the code, and no worries, you're going to have access to all this code. But what I want you to keep in mind is that you can take this and apply it to something else. So that is the beauty of using agents. That's the beauty of building these solutions, AI solutions. So I have here inside AI Recruiter Agency, and we have this folder called Agents. Let's focus on that real quick. But at the center of everything, the way I wanted to organize this code is that because each agent will have to have access to the large language model, in this case we're using Ollama. That's another point here, is that in this case we're using Ollama Llama 3.2, which means you don't have to pay for inference or pay for an MPI key, which is really great. And it's really good because then you can build these systems, build these AI solutions locally, and test them out before you can push them to production. So that is one of the great things about using Ollama models. But the idea is still the same if you want to use different models. Okay, so at the center of everything, the way I organize this code is a little bit more organized in a sense where you would find in a production application. Now, there are a few things here that you probably will have to kind of work around to make it production ready, but I put the code so that it is a little bit more organized. We're using classes and everything. Now, if you don't know a lot about classes, Python, it's okay. I have a lot of videos where I talk about Python, but this is how you would usually want to put together a potentially production ready application. At the center of everything, we have this base agent here. What is this? Well, it is indeed a class. Make this smaller so you can see. As you can see here, it's a class called base class that we pass in a few things in its constructor. So when we call base class, which is going to be that all agents are going to inherit from, which means they're going to model after, this is what we have. So each agent, of course, has a name, instructions. So this is the model way that we do with agents using Swarm. That is what we're using here. And you pass in, of course, the OpenAIs. Now, because I have another video where I talk about how to use Swarm and OpenAI, but override OpenAI in this case so that we can use Llama 3.2 or Ollama, any Ollama model. Okay, so this is how you override that. I have another video where I talk about that. You can find somewhere here, or you can just search on my channel. Okay, so what do you do here? We pass a base URL, and instead of having, in this case, the base URL that would have been for OpenAI, we have our own base URL. So this tells us that this is going to be locally using Ollama, in this case, pointing to an Ollama model. Okay, and then we pass API key here, just Ollama. It's not required, but it needs to be passed around. So at this point here, when we instantiate this base agent, we're going to know that we're actually going to be using, instead of OpenAI, because we're using Swarm framework, we're going to be using our local Ollama models. Okay, and then we have this function here that is defined called run. So this will get, of course, the message is going to be a list And then we have this query Olama. So at this point, we're going to pass a prompt as a string, and then we're going to go through the process of calling our client, Olama client, which was created here. And then we say, hit the chat and completions that create. So in this case here, you notice we're passing the llama 3.2 and we have messages. In this case, we have system and we pass the self instructions. So these instructions will have passed along through the agent. Okay, so this is how you structure it. I know for some of you this may be a little bit advanced, but it's a good exercise. And we're going to pass temperature and tokens and all of that. All right, and then we return the response. So whenever we say query Olama, this is what's going to happen. We're going to pass the model and then the messages. All of that is going to be passed along, also the prompt and the instructions. Okay, so here is this helper function here, parse JSON safely. This is just going to get the text that is coming in. As I said, safely parse JSON from text, handling potential errors. That's all we're doing here. So that is the base agent. So now once we have this base agent, what we need is to create the actual agent, Swarm OpenAI agents. And if I go back here, you can see that I have a bunch of agents here. So these agents, we have, for instance, the extractor agent, as the name implies, is going to be responsible for extracting information from the PDF file. And then we have the match agent, which is going to match whatever we got from the extraction, in this case the PDF, and try to match it with the company or the position that the person may be a good fit for. We have the orchestrator, and we have profile enhancement, recommender, and screen agent. Let's start with screen agent, because all of these agents will essentially, in terms of code-wise, they will look pretty much the same. Now, this is important. Look how beautiful this is. So the screen agent here, we are creating a class just to make things simpler and scalable. And then it's inheriting from the base agent, right? Because the base agent, as we saw, has all the properties, all the functions or methods that needs for it to actually become an agent. So that's what we're doing here. We're initializing everything. So we are initializing the names to be screener, and we have the instructions here to say screen candidates based on qualifications, alignment, experience, and everything. So we're passing the actual instructions for these agents. We say provide comprehensive screen reports and all of that. And we have the run. So this is just going to go print to say, okay, screener conducting initial screening. That's all that is this the run function is going to do. And then we have workflow context here. We are evaluating getting information from our messages that we're getting, and then get the content. So essentially, we're going to get what the large language model in conjunction with the agent, the results, and pass that into the query Olama. And if you remember, if I command click query Olama, what does it do? Query Olama model with the given prompt. So now we get that information we got and then pass through Olama, this agent here. Well, it's a call essentially to this endpoint so that it knows what to do. And then we get the response. And of course, we return an object, or in this case, a dictionary, which is going to have screening report. And we're passing in the date here. We could make this more dynamic, but this is okay. And screening score 85 in this case. Right, so let's go ahead to another agent. Let's go to Extractor Agent. So what does it do? Well, this Extractor Agent, as the name implies, it just extracts the information from a PDF file. Okay, we're importing a few things here, but the idea is very simple. Again, its base agent is the base agent that we pass, right? That's going to be the model for this Extractor Agent. And we have the name, the instruction, extract and structure information from resumes, focus on personal information, work experience, education skills, and certification, and all of that. Provide output in a clear, structured format. So it's important that we make these instructions very direct and very concise. Okay, we have the run again. So in this case, it's going to show us this extractor is processing resume, and we do exactly the same thing as we saw before. So like I said earlier, most of these are going to be the same in terms of the code, right? And we extract everything, and also we extract the text, in this case from the PDF file, because we're going to pass that along. As we take, of course, the raw text that we should have at this point, and we pass along to query Olama, as you know what it does. And then of course we return again the raw text, the structured data, in this case the structured I should say information, and the results. So we're just returning a dictionary so we can see what's going on. All right, so it's pretty much the same. Let's go to matcher. The matcher here, you know what's going to do. It's going to match whatever it was extracted from resume, trying to match with certain positions that they might have. So it's a matcher, the same thing again. That's the beauty. And the instructions here is that match candidate profiles with job positions, consider skill match, experience level, location, and everything. Return matches in JSON format with title, match score, and location fields. Okay, the same thing as you see here. This run, it's gonna print matcher, finding suitable jobs, and all the great stuff. Now, here is where we're just passing sample jobs. So this is where you would perhaps hit an API that you might have somewhere with a lot of different jobs, or a PDF file or a CSV file, whatever you have that would have different jobs. So in this case here, we just have these sample jobs with a few titles and everything. So that's the beauty. You can just plug in the source where you'll have a list of different jobs with requirements, locations, and everything. Okay, very good. So that's it. That's what's going to be used for the matcher to be able to match. It's going to look at the information that it's received from other people, in this case, other agents, and find the match. Okay, so match response. So this is where the matching results from Olama come in. So what we do, we call the query Olama, and we pass this F string here. Analyze the following profile and provide jobs matching valid JSON. Okay, so we have the profile here. It's going to be, and passes in, okay, the analysis, because in order to analyze, in order to do the matching, it needs to have the pieces that it needs. In this case, the analysis results that were gotten from a different agent. Okay, and then we pass the available jobs is this. So here's return only a JSON object with this exact structure. So it's very important to usually guide the large language models when it comes to the formats that you want. Okay, and there we go. So this is the format that we have here. Make it smaller so you can see everything. And then we can parse the response to make sure that we get everything in. This is parse JSON safely function that we saw in the agent, I believe, the base agent. Okay, we have some fallbacks here for errors and everything, and then we just return the parsed response. Now, before we go to the orchestrator here, let's go to the profile enhancer agent. So what does it do? Well, this is going to kind of enhance the profile as the name implies. It's going to go ahead and pass in the extracted information. It's going to copy that information and enhance essentially the profile of that candidate and return that enhanced profile. Essentially to extract what needs to extract and put all nicely. Okay, and then of course the profile agent here, that's where we pass, we call agent, profile agent, and pass Llama 3, and we say enhance the candidate's profile based on the extracted information. So this is where we actually call, this is where then we pass this function that we created here. Okay, and pass it through the agent because it will know that is the function it needs to run. Very cool. All right, let's continue here and let's go to the recommender agent. So recommender agent, as the name implies, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to recommend, right? So we have the instructions here. Generate final recommendations considering extract profile, skills analysis, and provide all this information. So again, nothing new here. And of course, we're printing everything when we run. In this case here, we do the same thing. We call the query Olama and pass a workflow context. So essentially is the information that we're getting from the evaluation of all the messages that come in. Okay, and then we return the recommendation. This is going to be sort of a dictionary with a timestamp and confidence level. In this case, we just say hi. Okay. Of course, you can add more things to make it actually realistic, but this is pretty good. Okay, let's continue. Let's go to screener agent. Now, the screener agent, I think we looked at it. Well, that's exactly what it does. It screens to make sure everything is good and pass it along. All right, so that is what it does. It's very simple. the same thing again. And there you have it. Now, the most important thing here, again, to keep in mind is that everything is base agent. So that means all these agents have a parent class that sets everything up. So that is the best way for you to think about when you're building real-world applications or solutions. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the orchestrator. The orchestrator in this case is the one that orchestrates everything. That is the maestro, if you will. Okay, and so it has a lot of things. Of course, we have to import all of those, but again, it is still an agent. So it has to inherit from base agent. So we give it a name, we give it instructions. Now, instructions are very important for agents, okay? It says here, coordinate the recruitment workflow and delegate tasks to specialized agents. Ensure proper flow of information between extraction, analysis, matching, screening, and recommendation phases. Maintain context, important. Maintain context and aggregate results from each stage. Okay, so we got self, that's set up agents. So there's a function that is being called that goes ahead and initializes all the specialized agents, all the ones that we've talked about. Look at that. Okay, very good, because as an orchestrator, it has to know which agents that it has access to start delegating. We have the run again, the same thing we've seen. And then we have this process application. So essentially it's going to just go ahead and pass some information here along and print out orchestrator starting application process and so forth. So we extract the resume. So it's going to go ahead and run to go and extract resume, update, in this case, the work context, workflow context. And then we analyze the candidate profile, okay, called self-analyzer, to start the analysis, right? So in this case, we're calling all of those agents, right? You can hover over, you can see it is indeed an analyzer agent, okay? And then we update the workflow context here. So each step of the way, as we're calling these different, or the orchestrator is calling these different agents, is going to do what it needs to do, okay? Delegate and create, in this case, add to the workflow context. Okay, and does with matching jobs, screening candidates, and then we generate the recommendation. All right, so it calls the recommender and does exactly the same thing, and we have some exception just in case things don't work. And that's pretty much it. Now we have other things here, logs and everything, but that's something that you can take a look yourself. But this is it. And so once we have that, we also have, of course, the app.py, I should say. So this has some code with Streamlit, which allows us to look at something that is nice to look at, as you saw earlier. Okay. So at this point here, let's go ahead and do a quick run. So we say Streamlit run app.py, and what will happen is going to go ahead and open our agency, AI Recruiter agency. We'll have a broken link here, but that's okay. We can go to about, for instance, and tells us about this agency. It's very, very cool what it does and everything. And all of this was created using Streamlit. And then we'll go to upload. Now we can actually browse and upload something, a resume. So I do have a resume that we can go ahead and upload. I'm going to upload here real quick. And the moment you upload that, drop it, and it's going to start the process. And the cool thing as this happens, I have here logs that are actually being sent out. And also I have what's happening in the whole orchestration showing here. Orchestrator starting application process and is analyzing everything, and it's working. It will take a little bit because there's a lot of things that are happening, and you can see all of that happening here, right? It tells us orchestrator starting, analyzer did that, matching, screener, and recommender, and it's happening. So we're gonna take a little moment here until hopefully we get the final results. Okay, so after a little bit, you can see that then we have here analysis complete. How cool is that? So we have different tabs here with different information, right? So we have skills analysis. It tells us exactly what happened, key skills and expertise level, and goes over everything about this candidate, 2 years of experience, and it gives it, so it's extracted everything from the resume and qualifications, and also even some subjections, right? However, the fact that her master's degree is not explicitly mentioned in her work experience section raises question about how much of her degree was applied in real world scenarios. So these are agents, just like real world agents, real agents who would have to think about whatever they are thinking, whatever they are analyzing. So career progression, potential red flags, look at that. All of this, okay? And the confidence score is 85%. And here, if I go back to the next tab, look at this. Job matches, data scientist, 75%, New York, senior software engineer, about 60%. All right? We can look at screening. So the screening results, 85% of screening results of confidence. Based on the provided information, I will perform a comprehensive screening of Janine Nell's resume. Qualification alignment, it goes through all of that. So all these agents were able to work together to come to a certain conclusion. Okay, and we can go through and all that. And also it says results are under results analysis. So we also create a textual file, txt file, with all this analysis. Okay, and I can go recommendation, and based on this analysis, I would recommend that Janine Nell develop more explicit examples, expand her professional network, and all of these different things. All right, there you have it. So just like that, ladies and gentlemen, if you not excited about this, I don't know what really will make you excited. This is something that you can actually use. It's usable, right? You can imagine that if you have, in fact, here's what I will do. If you have a friend of yours who is a recruiter, show them this video and see if they could use something like this, right? Don't make them feel like their jobs are in jeopardy. No, but just ask them if they could use such thing. How much time they will save them daily from vetting people and all that. That's what we have here. Now, here's the thing. If you want to build something like this and even more, I have a community where we have over 100 people right now as of recording this video, and I've opened it up for everyone who want to be in a community of like-minded people. But it's a community where you're going to be able to actually build real-world AI solutions for the real world, something similar to this, right? This is just a little example, but you can get an idea of what is going on in our community. So I'd love for you to join. It's a place where we have calls weekly usually, and also we have a lot of people who are helping each other, working on different projects, building real world projects, real world solutions using AI and code. And I hope this was helpful, and I hope you build something fantastic. All right, thank you so much, and till next time, be well.